Spring is in the air in the Northern Hemisphere, so today I'm making a spring bracelet using memory wire. Welcome back. If you're visiting for the first time, my name is Carol. Today I'm going to be using some spring coloured beads, pink, blue, green, to make a memory wire bracelet. Now I'll walk you step by step through the process of making this and talk about everything you need. If you haven't made a memory wire bracelet before, they are wonderful. I'm wearing one today, this one here, and basically you have one strand of wire which goes around your wrist multiple times. So let's get started. Now what I have in front of me are the beads I'm going to be using today. Now there's quite a lot of them. I have some 8mm imitation gemstones. In fact, these 3 beads are all imitation gemstones. So I have 8mm in the pink and the blue, and also a 10mm in the green. As well as that, I have some glass 4mm faceted beads, and these are in the colour peridot. And I have some stardust beads, which are little metal beads, and this is a mix of colours. To complement the coloured beads, I've got some silver beads. These ones are rondelles. I've got some little 3mm platinum beads, and I've got some daisy spacer beads or beaded rondelles. As well, I need some memory wire, and this one I have, this is a 5.5 centimetre, which means it's 5.5 centimetres across this way. And I've got about 5.5 rounds here. Now I want to put 5 times around my wrist, so I need more, because as you put it around your wrist, the beads make it expand. In terms of tools, you will need a pair of round nose pliers, and you'll need something to cut your memory wire with. Now these are memory wire cutters. You could use a pair of flush cutters if you like, but bear in mind that the memory wire will damage them because it's exceptionally hard. All of these products that I have in front of me are available in our store, and I will leave links in the description box below to a blog post which will contain everything that you need. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop in the end of my memory wire. I'm just going to move these out of the way a little bit so it gives me a little bit more room. So just taking the end of my memory wire, it doesn't matter which end, but you do want a flush cut on that memory wire if you can get it. And I'm going to just take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to make a loop. Now, if you haven't made a loop before, I will leave you a link to a video which will talk all about how to do that and show you how. So what I'm doing is putting it in my pliers, the end there, making sure it's not sticking up. I'm just going to twist as far as I can, readjust, and twist some more. Now, personally, I find memory wire a little bit hard to get that last millimetre or so. So just do it as many times as you need to until you get it nice and closed. There is my loop. Now that will stop the beads falling off, and some people, they put their loops the opposite way, so they're facing out. Personally, I like to do mine in so that they don't get caught on my clothes. Personal preference. Now I've actually already made a prototype of this, so this is actually what we're making. And as you can see, it has lots of different colours. It's twisted. Now I kind of broke the rules a little bit with this one. Normally when you make a memory wire bracelet, like this one, you sometimes have a focal bead and some focals here, but generally your beads are either the same size or they alternate or something like that. So you might go large bead, small bead. I've never done it this way before, where I've done one full round of large beads and one full round of smaller beads, but I did it here and I really, really like it. And when you wear it, it actually looks like you've got 5 different bracelets on, which is always wonderful. 5 bracelets without having to put 5 on. I like that idea. So we're going to start off with the blue. And as you can see here, what I did was I put on one of my little platinum balls, my 3mm platinum balls, and now I've got 2 daisy spacer beads. So that's what I'm going to do first. So finding the opposite end of the memory wire. Now memory wire is a little bit springy. If you've never used it before, it can be a little bit intimidating, but It's basically, it's like a big slinky, if you know what that is. And so you can stretch it out within reason and it will go back into its shape. You don't want to pull it too hard because obviously it's just wire, but when you put it on, it stays in its shape. Right, now I'm going to start off with one of these little 3mm beads here. So that's the first one, and I'm going to put on 2 of my daisy spacer beads. There's one, and there's another. Then I'm going to put on one of my blue, and I'm going to push that all the way down to the end, and it's going to go round and round the circle 5 times. So that's what I have now. I've got my little bead on the end, and I have my 2 daisy spacer beads or beaded rondelles and my 1 bead. Now the pattern for this first round, it basically goes 1 blue bead and 1 beaded rondelle. So I'll put those ones over there, and I'll tip some of these out just to make it easier to get to them. Now I will leave, as I said, a link in the description box for everything you need to make this. And at the end of the video, I will leave you a code so that you can get a discount on all of these beads. And that's actually quite good because these beads, this bracelet has quite a lot of metal, and metal beads are expensive. So you can get a discount if you watch right to the end of the video. So I'm just going to thread these on, and I have 18 of these blue beads, and that is enough to go around my wrist. Now it's important when you get your first round done to try it on, and I will tell you all about that in a minute. Right, now I have my 18 beads on. What I'm going to do is just push them all the way down to the end. Now I just need 1 more of my daisy spacers because I wanted to finish with a daisy spacer. So just popping it on and pushing it all the way down. Now that I've got my first round on, what I want to do is actually check that the beads are about right. So as you can see here, they are overlapping a little bit. Just push those back. It's a bit hard to tell when you there we go. So they are overlapping a bit. Now the reason that I've got them overlapping is because when I put this on my wrist, it will stretch out a little bit. Now a 5.5 memory wire bracelet actually fits me perfectly without beads, but when you put the beads on, it does tend to pull out a little bit. So that's why I've added a couple of extra beads here. So that's what I have now. So next I'm going to use my little glass faceted beads. So I'm going to tip those out. And this time I'm going to alternate them with some of my little balls here. So I ended with a beaded rondelle, and now I'm going to start with a glass bead, just so that I have the metal and glass and bead alternative going on. So just threading on my 1 glass bead. This one's a bit slippery, it doesn't want to go on. And 1 of my metal beads, my little balls. And just carry on doing that until you've gone around. And you will need, of these, 27 of the glass beads. And you want to finish with a little 3mm ball. Isn't it pretty? Just that on its own in a bracelet would be lovely. But you know me, I like bigger and chunkier. Now, as I have made several memory wire bracelets before, if you would like to see those tutorials, just take a look on the channel, and I will leave you a link to the video for the tutorial for the bracelet that I'm wearing and also the necklace that I'm wearing. And if you would like to see more of these tutorials that I do every single week, it would be wonderful if you would subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. And it helps my channel grow so that I can continue to bring you more tutorials every week. So now I have on all my peridot beads, and you can see there that it is one whole round. That's what it looks like. Now is a good time to actually go around and check before you put anything else on that you have got that alternating pattern correct, because when you're feeding on beads like this, it's actually really easy just to kind of pick up two of the same beads. So yes, mine is all correct all the way around. So next, I am going to put on my pink beads. Now I began that round and ended with a silver bead. So I am going to start with the pink one. Okay, so I have 15 of these pink ones, and I am going to feed those on, and I'm going to alternate those with some of these rondelles. These are silver rondelles. So just popping those on, just like before, one pink and one of the silver. Nice and easy pattern, this one. It's just that it takes time to thread them on, and I think it's very effective. And that's actually what I really like about jewelry making, is that often you look at a piece and you think, wow, that looks complex, but it can be really, really super easy, and nobody will know except you. On this channel, we do tend to go for the easy jewelry making rather than the more difficult, and that's because I cater to beginners, because, you know, I was a beginner once. It feels like not very long ago, and it's really hard to start your journey on your jewelry making journey. So it's really nice when you see someone who caters to your beginner needs. So that's what I have now, with my blue, then my green, and then my pink. All right, so the next round is using my little stardust beads here. And these ones are accentuated with some more of the little balls. And because I finished with one of my beads, I'm going to start off with a silver ball, because that continues on that metal then bead pattern. So just feeding these ones on alternatively, just like before. So starting with a 3mm, then a stardust, and what I'm doing is trying to, because these are a mixed colour, I'm trying not to get two of it the same next to each other. It's pretty easy. So I'm interested to know, do you make seasonal jewellery? Do you wear different jewellery in the winter, or in the summer, or in the spring? Do you make specific jewellery for autumn or fall? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to know. All right, so there is my stardust bead one round. Here we go. Now I am going to put on my green beads. Now for this one, I'm actually going to use two of my daisy spacer beads between the beads. So I have a 3mm ball here, so I'm going to start off with a green one. So a green one, and then two of the daisy spacers. Then another green one. So that's my pattern. And I'm just going to continue that on around, and I am putting on 16 of these green beads. So that's what I have. I finished with two of my spacer beads. Now, I don't have much of my memory wire left. I actually cut it almost exactly the right length. So I'm just going to put on one of my little 3mm balls there just to finish it off. Just like that. And now I'm going to make my final loop. So just in exactly the same way as before, just taking the wire in my pliers and twisting, readjusting the pliers and twisting again. Just one thing to remember before you make your loop, you do need to make sure that all of your beads are pushed up. There is my bracelet, and where's the end? So my end is overlapping just slightly. So there's one end and there's another. And I find that that works really well, just to overlap it just slightly. Well, that was actually quite an easy project, but it did take quite a long time to thread on all of those beads. Now, the most important thing is to remember to alternate your metal bead and your coloured bead. But honestly, if you miss one or you get two together, it's not a big deal. Nobody is going to look at your bracelet and go, oh my gosh, you have two silver beads together. Believe me, they won't get that close. Also, now you've been waiting for that code, the code for the 10% discount on all of these beads is Spring Bracelet. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well, and I will see you again in the next one.